Welcome everyone to a very special session here from Car and Bike. Yes, we promised you this and we are going to deliver in spades because it's a car that has generated so much interest. जी हाँ, मैं बात कर रहा हूँ महिंद्रा थार की। ये एक ऐसी गाड़ी है जो काफी लोग बहुत उत्सुकता से इसके लिए वेट कर रहे थे और अब इसका लॉन्च हो चुका है. That's right, it's been launched in the market. We already know the prices. 15th August is when we saw the car for the first time. 2nd October, yes, very nationalistic, is when we found out all the prices. And it's created ridiculous amounts of buzz. We were the first ones to bring you all of that off-roading action as well. And you know what? It's only fitting that I now answer all your questions. Many of you have already sent in a lot of questions. I am armed with answers for that. But you know what? It's not just me. I will be joined by some very key personnel. I'm not just going to say Mahindra management, because the people who are going to be answering some of these questions directly for you are people who are very much behind this whole Thar project, very key to the whole development and bringing to market of what's clearly a very iconic product for the market, very important one for the company. So with me here is the Mahindra Thar. Of course, it needs no introduction. This is the LX variant, the one we've been showing you, the one that's running back there in the screen as well. That's the car you've pretty much seen across the media landscape. But it's not the only version that's been launched. This is what's really new about the Thar, and that's what's getting all the excitement. But we also have the AX, the first time that you're getting to see one of those. And that's exciting because they are very different. And in today's session, we'll tell you just how different they are. So let's jump straight into it. I am going to pull this out and start to see how many of you are here right now. And wow, that's a lot of questions that are already coming in. There's questions on safety I'm seeing. There's questions and comments on my hairstyle. And you know what? This is a little clue as to what we're going to be speaking about later as well. So let me go ahead and take that off for now so you can hear me a little more clearly, because clearly at this point, I'm fairly well socially distanced from the rest of the crew. Okay, the reason I said there's a clue here is because there's also something new happening at Mahindra around the Thar specifically. Accessories, merchandise, customization, new territory. We'll get into all of that as well. Okay, so lots of questions that are coming, and try and get into some of those questions straight away. So as I said, there are questions on safety. I'm seeing there's questions on the competition. A lot of people saying that they're excited. That's nice. And all right, so what's the main thing that a lot of people want to know about? I'll tell you what, the big topic that's been on everybody's mind is, can this be your daily driver? I think that's the one area which many of you have written in about. And I'll quote some of your specific questions in just a while, but you know what? We will, I'm seeing a lot of comments on people talking about the pricing as well. So very quickly, just want to say, a lot of you have asked this question about specific variants, about diesel, petrol, automatic, manual, and the prices for all of that. All those details are on our website. It's all in our launch story yesterday. You have the whole table there. Or you can go to the Thar product page on our website, carandbike.com, and you'll see all the pricing details there. So I'm also getting a lot of questions on areas like the mileage. So you know what? First up, let me go ahead and welcome our first guest who's going to be joining us today. He's the man in charge of product planning at Mahindra. So you can imagine how busy he was before this thing was even a line on a piece of paper. Rajiv Mehta joining me right now, and let me go across to him, and I'm going to address, take some of these questions to him as well. But let's get Rajiv onto the show. Rajiv, welcome, and thank you for being here with us today. I really appreciate your time, and I know it's been a crazy busy week for you, and an exciting one as well. So first reactions to all the public reaction that the car is getting.
Hi, Seth. Nice to be on the show with you. It's been a very long time that I've sort of got to engage with you on a public format like this. Um, yeah, yesterday was, a huge day for all of us at Mahindra. We turned 75. It was a Founders Day, and of course, the iconic Thar got launched. So, in some sense, overwhelming for a lot of us who've sort of worked at Mahindra for such a long time. And looking at what reactions we're getting on the Thar is sort of almost validating what our assumptions were, when we tried to create this car 4 5 years back. So yeah, extremely excited, a little nervous, but very positive in terms of what we're hearing from the marketplace.
All right, Rajiv, hang in there because like I said, I will have some very specific questions for you as well. We'll come to those in a bit, but first up, let's get this party started. There's a whole lot of curiosity, like I said, about this whole point on whether or not this car can be your daily driver or not. A whole bunch of questions that have come in to us on Instagram as well as on. So thank you. I'm going to start with some of those as well. And the very first question is from Raj Thakur. He says, is it available with 6 seats? And a lot of people have asked about the seating configuration. And so, which is why, let's take a look at that. Now, first up, this is the LX, like I said. And so, all right, I'm going to get in and there you go. So, all right, first up, as always, I will wear my seatbelt. Now, this is the LX or the lifestyle version of the car. It's the hardtop and it's got everything that we've already shown you in the review. So you got 2 front-facing seats at the back. And you know what? Yeah, that's where I think the whole family car question can be answered as well. As you can see, I've installed a child seat as well in this one. And that's the other good thing, ISOFIX, to be able to install those car seats, which means that you can be safe with your little kids as well and strap them in the correct way. So yes, it can be a family car. Yes, it can be your daily driver as well. But the whole point here is that, can it replace your existing sedan or hatch? That's a question you have to answer, because if your family car usage is very heavy, you use a chauffeur, most of the time you and the family, especially the kids or, even elderly people are going to sit at the back, then maybe you want to question that. But if you're going to be primarily the one driving the car, this is going to take you to work and back, but you want to have a little fun on the weekends and your kids are still young, this works perfectly. On long drives, I think the kids will have no problem at the back. It's very comfortable. But yes, like I said, for older people, short distances, that's a fairly comfortable seat. And that's what's really different about the new Thar. The fact that you can have that option, and the fact that you also have a touch screen and you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and more effective air conditioning, as well as, just a better finish overall. This whole thing, steering mounted controls. I mean, these are not things that you really expected to ever see on the Thar, right? Little screen up here as well. So there's just lots going on that was never the case. And you've seen all this in my review. So the screen here also has the readouts. If you are on the off-road mode, it shows you what the axle is doing and what sort of terrain you're driving on. So the whole thing is really sort of cool. And yet the quintessential Thar elements like the 4-wheel drive, the fact that you can go too high or 4 low. This is the manual, but you do have an automatic. Again, that talks to the whole lifestyle element. And like I said, the other car with us is, of course, the AX, which is the Adventure Series. So I'll show you that in just a bit. But first up, I want to also talk about another area, which is very interesting. And again, an area where we got a lot of questions from. So if I can have some of those questions, guys. And in the meanwhile, I also want to be talking about what many people have asked, and that is about a lot of the accessories or things that you can do to the car. Now, the previous Thar, remember, it always had this element of people going and getting a whole lot done to the car, but that was always aftermarket. Now, for the first time, you've got a whole lot going on from the company itself. So basically, the concept of no 2 cars are alike, no 2 cars will be the same. Thar drivers and owners have always loved that aspect. They want to sort of have that car become an extension of their own personality, and they want to brag about the fact that they have one of these, right? That's in keeping with such vehicles worldwide. You see that sort of following for other cars like, the Wrangler or now the Bronco. In India, the Thar has that for sure. And as you can see, I am wearing something which again was never ever available. You've got apparel to go with the Thar as well. That's new. That's exciting. So I'll talk about that in a bit. But accessories, that's the thing I want to first talk about. Now, you've got a whole lot of stuff that you can do, like even customizing the way that your headlamp looks. You've got different kind of options. You can fit this on. You don't like the black one, you can have the shiny chrome one. I am anti-chrome, as you know, but most of the market is not like me. And so, which is why you can do stuff like this. And you can do a whole lot more. So before I take any of your questions, this is a very new aspect, both from Mahindra's business perspective and from a Thar owner's perspective. Accessorizing, customizing, the sky is the limit. Amer spent some time getting you all those details. Take a look. Just give me the questions, whatever you have. Can you not be talking in my ear throughout? Okay, as happens very often in live broadcasts, and we've got people walking across the camera, that's kind of stuff, and no audio. Yes, no matter how hard you try, the technology and the circumstances sometimes fail you. So I promise you, there are some really interesting details there that I really want to share with you. Hang in there. I will get you those details, and we will play that for you in a second. But Rajiv, I know that you are watching this and you're very amused, as am
No, no.
I. So, okay, there are a few questions I want to take, and I'm going to come to you for some of those answers as well. And
Sure.
there's lots about the competition. That's something I will speak about, but let's take some of these other questions in the meanwhile. You've got questions on the five-door option. Realistically, when can a car, can we expect a car with, a five-door variant on this? And you've got, when is the five-door version coming? What about the five-door Thar? Will the Thar be available in a five-door option? Is the five-door a long wheelbase? Now, inevitably, you knew this question was going to come. And so since you're the planning guy, you got to tell us, was it always planned?
Maybe that's the reason why management does not allow me to come on shows like this, because obviously we don't want to sort of give away what the plans are. So maybe I'll sort of let if you have somebody else from mind, that I believe Vijay joins in as well. So maybe he'll be. I'm gonna sort of let him take this difficult one. But like just for you to know that we are a hearing organization, and we sort of always and you would sort of agree with that, said that we always have our ears out there in the marketplace, and we understand what our customers want, and Mahindra typically sort of delivers on to what the expectations are. I mean, it could be a time-based fit, but I'll let Vijay take this answer when he sort of joins your show.
All right, fair enough. There's lots of questions about, and if we could just kind of turn up what Rajiv is saying so I can hear him more clearly, guys. There's a question from RTech9. Can the hardtop version be unscrewed? I assume that just means the hardtop and not the rest of the car. Chandrakant is saying fiber top durability. Does it lose its sheen and gloss over time? Samir is saying, can a roof carrier be fitted for extra luggage? Then there is a question from Topo Devil. Is the convertible of the on the hard top or the soft top? Bhavani asks, is the removable soft top worth it? Then you've got a question from RHN. Can I take the lifestyle variant off-roading? Which is your favorite, the AX or LX? All right, so we're starting to meander a little. Let's just stick to this whole question about the roof. And I've got to ask you about this, Rajiv, because yes, this is a question I had for you as well the first time I drove the car in August. And so tell us this whole point about the hard top. Did you ever envision or plan for it to be removable?
Yes, I think the so it's sort of complicated, Sid, but it's possible to take it off. But we would strictly advocate that this gets done at a dealership because it does need certain special tools. Um, and that brings back to what my views were. I think somebody who's looking for best of both the worlds, which is to have a practical car which a covered top, and over a weekend you want to sort of have a wind in your hair. I would sort of really advocate the convertible. It's sort of very practical, very easy to do it yourself. So it makes more sense for people who are looking for that experience of both an open top and a covered top to sort of consider the convertible. It's sort of it's fun. I mean, you should sort of try and do it and see how much the car sort of engages with you when you do try and do that. So that would be my view.
So I actually subscribe to the same view, in fact, Rajiv. So if you really don't want to have, or rather, if you really want that flexibility of constantly removing your roof, then you shouldn't be looking at the hard top in the first place. But on the soft top, whether it's the convertible or the soft top, on the convertible, you can, of course, fold it down, but you can provisionally also just remove it completely, right?
Yes,
If
you
it's
could.
not a completely open
Yes,
car.
yes, you could do that. Yes,
All right. So
and
that's
it's a very simple thing to do, and there's tools provided in the car to enable that happening.
all right. Great. The other point is that, when you were planning for this vehicle, as a replacement of the last Thar, and then also in terms of how it addresses a completely different need. And so in many ways, it's very unlike what that car was in terms of how it addressed the market. So where do you see it fitting into the market? This is not a rivals question. This is not a segment question, but given how you already have, let's say, an XUV 300, or you have a car like the Scorpio, and you always had the old Thar, where do you see this one fitting in?
See, when we were working on this new Thar, suppose you know that previous Thar was on an older generation platform. So a lot of sort of work, a lot of time was spent on trying to understand, there are certain critical elements one needs to get right for an iconic car like a Thar. So we spent a lot of time on the platform, sort of get the things like wheelbase, track, departure angle, approach angle, all of those were sort of, we really put in a lot of efforts to sort of get those right. While we also had this very big customer requirement saying that I also want to have a Thar. It's not maybe as practical as I want it to be. I would want it to be my everyday use car. So we've also spent a lot of time to make it practical in a much more contemporary way than what the outgoing Thar was. So like the way you mentioned earlier, it's a good car for everyday need requirements. And if you are that, uh, I'm using the word explore the impossible sort of a person who would want to take that occasional, drive out there in the wild. Thar sort of, no other car but the Thar sort of fits your bill. So it's best of both the worlds. It's not confined to one's usage versus the other. It sort of blends in both the requirements very well. So no competition to it. It's a world of its own, and allows you to do whatever you want to do, on road or off road.
All right. One last question before I let you go. And Nilesh, I hear you. I will ask that accessories question. Maybe we'll get Velu to answer that for you. But while I still have Rajiv, Kishore Chaudhary is asking, any hope for the Thar with a 1.2 or 1.5 M Stallion engine option? And also, I'm going to add to that. A lot of people are still asking about, will you do like a lower version with the older engine? You want to just set the record straight on how this is a modern product?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm not a very good singer, but whenever I look at the Thar, you will recall that song said, "Dekha tujhe Thar dil mein baji guitar." So Thar sort of evokes a very different um, sensibilities in you, and it's not about necessarily about affordability or can I do an affordable 1.2 or a 1.5 liter. It's a beast. It lets you be. It enables you to conquer uncharted territories. Takes you where other cars can't even think of going to. So I understand. There could be thoughts of how do I make it? How do I put a smaller size engine, make it more affordable? But it's a Thar. I wouldn't sort of mess with it. It's the daddy of our portfolio, and I'll sort of try and not mess up too much with it and just leave it what it's supposed to be doing.
All right, fair enough. Rajiv, thank you for being on the show today and sharing all your answers directly to questions that have come in literally from fans of the car and people who are possibly looking to buy it as well. So, as you can see, there's been tremendous interest in this entire launch, and that's because for the first time, people are considering this as not just some sort of a second car or a third car. And you can see there's so many questions coming in. The whole point is about being able to make this your daily driver. And I think to some extent, you heard some of what Rajiv had to say and what I've been talking about. And those of you who've seen the review, the answer to that is largely yes. All right, a lot of people are reacting and commenting to what was said there by Rajiv. There are many questions about the product, and we will get Velu to join us in just a bit. And also the CEO of Mahindra's auto business, Veejay Nakra, will be here with us to also answer some of your questions. But let me carry on and take some of your other questions. Like I said, there were some other areas we were getting into. There was a question that was about the lifestyle variant, the LX, this guy over here. Can it go off-roading? And the answer is yes. So if you're going to be doing hardcore off-roading, then I'm going to preempt a lot of questions.
Rajiv sir, Shuvro here from CNB team. Thank you so much. वेलुस्वामी का आया क्या रिक्वेस्ट आया अभी नहीं आया अभी आएगा देखिए अभी बोला अभी नहीं आया नहीं यार नहीं ऐसे थोड़ी होती हमको वहाँ से किसका अभी आए
An SUV that's captured the hearts and mind of many generations over the past decade. And now the new generation of car is looking to add more plans to its
एक्सेप्ट करो यस सर
join there are of course those who want to think that this
is still not aggressive enough. Or probably they want to just make it unique. To bulk it up, obviously, you'll have to go to a fitness center, but we can't do that with a Thar. So what we'll do is accessorize it a bit. Mahindra is offering these accessories to all its Thar customers. So let's dive straight into it. Now, the fact that we've got on this
Akhil?
Thar is called the Thar Lord.
Akhil?
And it's very simple to understand why it
Akhil?
got that name.
Just call him.
There's black splash all over it. And a key bits that you see here are one, the add-on that you get on the front bumper, that's new. You also get this headlamp athlete right here, and the nice looking strip of black, which makes right on the front grille, which actually makes the name stand out. Even this part, this black athlete on the ORVM actually makes a very strong statement, a glossy bit. So adds to the premium look, and that's what makes it unique on the road. And all of this is the Dark Lord kit.
Yeah, I just find it.
5,890 rupees. Mind you, for those wanting chrome,
Yeah, can you see me?
that option too. And that's where the Chrome Hero pack comes in handy, because you get a lot of chrome on it. Here we have some of it, but from door handles to the small lamp housing, the tail light actually too looks really nice in chrome. In fact, here you also get the ORVM athlete. It just fits really nicely, doesn't it? The Chrome kit costs 6,830 rupees. So premium looks at a good price. Of course, the cabin too gets a slew of accessories, which you can opt for. Of course, you get a lot of upholstery settings in the accessories department. This one is the black and red combination. There are 6 other options you can choose from. But Mahindra says that this one is bacteria resistant and, of course, quick to wash. It is very useful on a day-to-day basis. The seat covers are priced at 6,830 rupees, and that's a pretty competitive price. Now, if you have the AX base variant of the Thar, you can upgrade it to a 2-din head unit. And you can also opt for roof-mounted speakers. Mahindra says that you can choose a 16-inch alloy wheel on the AX trim, but that will come by November. So there's enough and more that you can do to make your Thar stand out. And with these many options, we are sure the owners are spoiled for choice.
Is that for those of you who may have been curious about some of the body colors, we've got the red here, we've got the black. The red is, of course, something you've seen a lot of. But Amir there just showed you the aquamarine at the beginning, and you also got a chance to see the new copper color. There's a nice little connect with that copper colored car. I'll talk about that in just a bit. I won't tell you right now what I'm hinting about, but just want to make sure that all of you who are live with me right now, you can hear me clearly, and you've been able to sort of hear some of the answers that we've been getting you from people like Rajiv. The reason I asked that is I see a lot of appreciative comments, so thank you guys for that. The reason I asked that is because now we're going to get another guest in very soon, but let me take a couple of questions before we do that. Manka Manish has asked, will it be comfortable to drive every day in the city? So I've already answered that question. We've got a question also from which is better, petrol or diesel? Depends on how what is your definition of better? The good news is that you've got a situation now where there is a petrol. There never was one earlier, right? And so the good part with that is that it's not just picked up one of the earlier petrols that Mahindra used to use. It's a new development. It's a turbo GDI. And that part becomes important not just because it's modern, but also because by virtue of being a turbo, you also get a tremendous amount of torque. That's important for a car like this, especially when you think off-roading. And so many of you would have been curious about that. Can the petrol be as hardcore? And so the answer to that is generally yes. It does give you a lot of torque. It is more powerful also than the diesel, don't forget. And so therefore, it depends on what you want. The good part is now you have the option. So that I hope answers your question. Again, another question. This is from Krishnendu Saha, is it good enough for regular city drives? Been answered, asked and answered. Prince 24 says, is it suitable for a family of 2 boys and ma and papa? Yes, I have answered that too. So in case you missed that part of my monologue, well, I was in there some time ago showing you just how flexible it is. And especially if your 2 boys are kind of young, then all the more reason that the back seat is perfect for kids. So even for long drives, because a lot of people might want to do that. And another question about confused between the front-facing seat or well, I'm assuming what they mean is the side-facing seats at the rear. So I'll try and get one of our cameras to go in and show you the side-facing seats. But while we do that, let's just quickly address this point. Now, it depends again on what sort of usage you have. If it's a family usage, I highly recommend the front-facing seats. That's the whole reason why that's been developed. Because remember, you get seat belts. It's a lot safer. It's more comfortable. The side-facing seats, it probably has a more rural or a more traditional usage for the Thar as you had with the previous generation. So, all right. So if we can get Tom, do you want to just walk in and show people the side-facing seats on the AX? And all right, let's see. Yeah, just peek in there and show people that, so that the back seat is something that they want to see. Just go into the back. Yeah, there we go. So that is the AX, and it's the car which has the side-facing seats. And all right, in the meanwhile, I'm looking at a lot of questions that are coming in live as well. A lot of people sending some very appreciative emojis too, so that's great. And Simran Arora says, I can't imagine how thrilled my family is going to be when I show them this car. Well, Simran, I hope the family and you are watching right now and at least getting to see some of that. Wow, we have a message from Mr. Anand Mahindra. He said, if any of your team are out there with you, can you please ask them, if I book today, will they please deliver me the car soon? I'm guessing this is not the real Anand Mahindra and not push me to the back of the queue. Well, if it is or if it isn't, either way, that queue is going to be a long one for sure. Thanks for the explanation. Appreciated that. I do appreciate that. The Mahindra Thar is going to be a showstopper on the road, period, says Jyoti Gupta. So lots and lots and lots of appreciative comments. So let me go ahead and welcome R. Velusamy. He's the product development chief at Mahindra and Mahindra. Velu, it's good to have you. Thank you, firstly, and welcome. Good to see you after so long.
Hi, Seth. How are you? Can you hear me?
I am on top of the world, as you can see.
Oh.
All right, let me get rid of the mask again. So as I was saying, lots of questions about this whole 2 different variants, the seating, etc. Tell me this, when they came to you with this idea saying that, look, it has to be a modern vehicle, it has to also, meet all the new requirements in terms of safety and, crash. It also has to have a lot of appeal. We want to build in a lot of modern design and refinement into it. And yet we want to have the flexibility of, giving people what the old Thar had, side-facing seats, very sort of rudimentary, basic sort of approach towards those who want it, and a more plush approach towards those who did. Basically, they were asking for everything. What was your first reaction?
Oh, I thought it is an extremely difficult job because on one side you need to meet crash norms, also the pedestrian, offset crash and pedestrian norms. And when it comes to soft top and convertible and hot top, we have to manage it within a single day.
All right, I think we have Velu's feet seems to have frozen for a second. All right, we'll try and get him back in the meanwhile.
Of hot top.
All right, maybe we just try that again, and one of the guys from the team are going to just quickly connect with Velu, make sure he's on strong Wi-Fi. And in the meanwhile, like I said, let me take another question. There's so many questions about the whole lifestyle aspect and the practicality of that. There's a similar question that's come in from Prem. There's a question from, well, what is, this is the only, can this be the only vehicle in your garage if you buy the 2020 Thar? That's a question from Prad Superman. So largely the answer to that has been yes. And so that's the good thing. If I can again go back to the live questions that are coming in and take some of those. In the meanwhile, you've got a question about, well, this is interesting. It's a question from Ellis Roger. How deep can the Thar go underwater? And does it have the option or variant to mount exhaust at the top? Which is a good buy, petrol or diesel with AT or manual in terms of performance as well as best off-roading experience? All right, so some of that I have already answered. And can it go underwater? No, it's not a submersible. So 650 millimeters is the wading depth, which is pretty credible for an off-road vehicle anyway. It's 50 millimeters more than something like a Range Rover Evoque. Is it as sort of extreme as the Range Rover? No, but that's the whole point, that you can still do a fair amount with it. The whole point about the exhaust, I'm guessing you mean like a snorkel kit. Those kind of accessorizations and customizations, modifications are things you can do with the vehicle later, but that's something that will require some work. Can it be done? Sure. And I think that again goes back to how extreme you want to be with the off-roading. So Velu, we lost you when we were getting that answer from you. So if you could just tell me again about just this approach of bringing everything into this new car.
To keep common, so we can meet all the pedestrian and off.
All right, I think these continue to have some network issues. So let's try and get a better connection going with him, and I'll come back to him in a bit. And guess what? I just got a message that was Anand Mahindra. By the way, it was the real Anand Mahindra who was on our feed just now, asking about getting into the front or back of the queue. Well, you know, I'm guessing he has a little bit of special access. Let's just hope that he does. All right, Nilesh, talking about the snorkel and roof rack, missing in accessories brochure. So Nilesh, I will take that question to Velu as soon as that line is clear. Can you tell the difference between the mileage on the automatic petrol and automatic diesel? We'll ask the mileage question to Vijay when he joins us as well. So good question. Priyanka is asking about the price. Again, those of you who are asking about prices, remember all the prices which guys are on our website. So please go ahead and take a look at that. December, gift me one team. Well, that's something for the Mahindra team to consider. Saransh, congratulations though on your upcoming nuptials to you and your soon-to-be better half. I never expected the Thar to be like this, says Prashant. Yes, none of us did, I think. At the same time, we kind of did too. And I think that's the whole point. It had to be like this. No white color. I guess there isn't one right now, but if many of you give that feedback, I'm sure Mahindra will take that to their team. When you're going to come up with the Thar giveaway contest, that giveaway, I'm guessing you meant Thar. That's a question from Amir Ali Lalani. Dead pedal and armrest was another question. We'll come to all that, but you know, I can't do a Thar giveaway just yet. It's food for thought, and I made a mental note of it. But what I can do is do a little bit of a giveaway right now, not of the car, but of things associated with the car. And that's a perfect segue for me to talk about. You saw the accessories and you saw the customization that can be done on this vehicle for the first time at the company end. So it's all like been pre-planned and thought about. But again, given the fact that this is a lifestyle brand as well, you've seen that from the likes of Harley Davidson, Royal Enfield. Well, why not the Mahindra Thar? I am dressed in keeping with that spirit today. And so you can see I have my little Thar safari jacket. I've got my Thar. It says, "Go get dirty." Yes, that t-shirt. It's in your face. It is very, very irreverent. And that's the whole point. You want to be a little brash when you're in a car like this. So let's talk a little bit about the merchandise. That's again something new that's happening for the first time. And so once again, Tom needs to come in with his camera so that I can start to show you some of this stuff. And the whole point here is that I'm going to ask a very simple question to start with. And in that lies the chance for you to win some of this stuff as well. So if you guys can see me, you have this camo print car cover. So that's something that you can get for your Thar. You can also get it in a couple of other finishes. You've also got the coffee mug, so that's nice. And it's got explore the impossible. That's one of the captions. You saw that on my mask as well when I was wearing that earlier. And yes, so you do have a variety of face masks that's in keeping with the COVID times. And, they've got some interesting, catchy slogans on them or just the Thar branding. You want to go with the hats. Well, you've got, again, Thar badging along the side that's embroidered in, and explore the impossible. So that's what's new. Phone covers as well, for what it's worth, and even a camo print umbrella, which I'm not going to open up right now because they say it's bad luck, and I've had enough technical issues on this live broadcast. Bad luck to open an umbrella indoors. But that's the whole point. It's supposed to be outdoors with this car. Women's as well as men's t-shirts. In fact, you know what? I've got a few of them that are open back there. So let me just show those to you. And no, this is not your home shopping network. So I'm not selling these right now, but that's nice, right? Shade kabhi nahata nahi hai. तो अगर आप थोड़ा अपना ये लाइफस्टाइल फ्लॉन्ट करना चाह रहे हैं, पहली बार महिंद्रा की तरफ से ये अपैरल की रेंज जो है वो डीलरशिप्स में उपलब्ध होगी और कहना होगा कि ये दिस इज द सेम टी शर्ट दैट आई एम वेयरिंग, कहना होगा कि ये एक बहुत स्मार्ट मूव है कंपनी की तरफ से, क्योंकि बहुत से ब्रांड्स हैं जो बहुत लोकप्रिय हो जाते हैं, बहुत लोग उनको करीब से चाहते हैं, लेकिन फिर वो उसको फ्लॉन्ट नहीं कर पाते. तो की चेन्स, टी शर्ट्स, इवन अ फॉर्मल शर्ट, यू गॉट लॉट ऑफ ऑप्शंस that you can actually go ahead and do, and that's where my little giveaway comes in. So if you want to win some of these goodies, I've got some of those key rings, I've got some of these t-shirts with the nice slogans. There's also a nice little collared t-shirt back there somewhere, which just has the little Thar badging on it. So if you want to win any of that, I'm going to ask you some random questions, and I want to go to the live feed so that I see who gives me the first answer. And so no Googling, because of course, fastest finger first. So can we go to the live YouTube chat, please? Guys, we need to see the live chat. Okay, here we go. So the question I have, the first question is a very simple one. When did the first generation Thar first arrive? Let's see who gets that answer right. The first person to get that right will get a t-shirt in their size, maybe just like the one I am wearing right now. So, okay. In the meanwhile, Inderpreet Vadva says, when is the 4-door Thar coming? I'm guessing you mean the 5-door. Please make it possible with features like the Creta and Seltos have. We'll buy it instantly. Now, that's a very interesting question. And that's when we come to the whole rival set questions, because I got a lot of them earlier too. So, Inderpreet, thank you for that. Meanwhile, 1990 is the first answer I have from Praveen. Harshal Naik says 2010. Dibyajyoti Oja says 1994. Nikhil also says W2010. And Ashwini Kumar says 2010. So 2010 is the right answer, of course. And it's been 10 years since we had the first generation drive-in. And so it makes it, well, a lot of you are now getting it right, but fastest finger first, as I said. So we have our first winner of the giveaway. So yeah, you're going to get one of these t-shirts. Congratulations. Now, the point about, and by the way, like I said, hang in there because I'm going to ask quite a few of these questions. I've got a lot of those to give away. So, 4th October 2010. Saransh, hang in there. You got more opportunities to win. All right. So there are some very interesting questions that have come in as well about, Raghav is asking how many USB slots. So of course you've got, Shubham, what was it? 2 slots up front? Yeah, so you got 2 USB slots, and you also have the charging point up front in case you need it. You got, don't you feel the new steering wheel does not suit the Thar? I don't understand what you mean by that, because it's functional, it's rugged enough. It's also the right size in my view. And what I like about it is that it's modern. It's more precise than on the last car for sure. It doesn't have a rattle or a vibration, which is great. And it even has steering mounted controls for the first time in the LX. So that's nice. S Trillion says, does it have room for custom dead pedal installation? I want the top end in 16-inch trim. I'm guessing that means you want to go with the LX, but you want a 16-inch option, not 18-inch. You can do that at the dealer end because you have 16-inch alloys as well, not just the steel rims that you see on the AX here. As for your other question about the dead pedal, no, there isn't any room. And that's good feedback maybe for Mahindra to take into consideration. A lot of people do like to have a dead pedal. I am one of them as well. 18-inch trim in manual with ESC. Parth is asking this question. So once we have Velu back, we can specifically ask this question. But the good part is a lot of this is customizable. So even if you buy a certain variant, you can upgrade to the 18-inch wheels, even if they don't come standard on that particular variant. So you got that answer from me for sure. A lot of questions again on the roof. But okay, AX optional price, says Shashank. All the prices on our website covered for you in great detail. So definitely go and check out the prices there. Aparna says, I'm super happy about the price tag, such a steal deal. Well, that's interesting feedback, because since yesterday, we've been looking to get some of that feedback from you. And I'm not the only one. I'm sure the guys at Mahindra have been equally keen to get that kind of feedback. So, comments like the ones we just got from Aparna will certainly make the CEO of Mahindra's auto business very happy. So joining me now is Mr. Veejay Nakra. He doesn't really need an introduction, and old friend. And today we're twinning. We're wearing the same jacket. Veejay, welcome.
Hi, Siddharth. How are you? Thank you so much for hosting the show.
I am good, and I'm happy to see that big smile on your face. And why not? Because, this car has just kind of, we always expected it'll be big, but this big, were you anticipating that?
Siddharth, I was actually thinking of how to define the excitement, and I came across a very old phrase. In Tamil Nadu, when a Rajnikant Thalaiva film is launched, they actually say Muddanal madness. And I think yesterday what we experienced with the launch of the Thar was actually something like that. It was that kind of a frenzy across the country. It's like a Shah Rukh Khan or a Salman Khan or an Amir Khan film launch. So I think it was a blockbuster launch, and we've got phenomenal initial response. So yes, we are very, very happy and excited at Mahindra. I know that you would want some numbers and facts around that, Siddharth, but I guess we are going to have to hold on to that till we put out an official press note. But we've got close to 200,000 people visiting our site. We've had over 5 million views of our launch yesterday, and lots of inquiries and bookings coming in across the country. So yes, a lot of excitement.
Many congratulations to you, the entire team. Anand's with us right now too, watching live. So also to him and everybody who's sort of been not just the sort of brains behind developing this car. Any new car would have a team like that behind it, but this particular one just has so much passion behind it too. And I can see that. I know it's personal for many of you, so special congratulations. But lots and lots of questions coming in, and we asked Rajiv this some time back too. Let me get your view on where do you see it fitting into the market? Because a lot of people are asking this question about, do I compare it to a Creta or a Seltos? Does it belong in its own segment? How do you view that?
Yeah, that's firstly, Siddharth, I think you know as much as me that today the so-called boundaries that define cars, SUVs is very, very blurred. But let's talk a little bit about specifically the Thar. And I think Thar, as we all know, is an iconic brand as far as India is concerned. It has a rich legacy. It has a huge fan following. And, that's where when we were kind of creating the all-new Thar, there were a lot of these questions that went on in our mind as to how do we remain authentic to what the Thar is, and how do we ensure that we kind of bring in a lot more people to experience this iconic brand. And hence, if you'll see, and both Velu, Rajiv have covered that, but if you see the kind of product we've now put out, be it in terms of varianting, be it in terms of the powertrain, bringing in automatic, bringing in gasoline, and the bells and whistles of any modern day SUV. Actually, what we believe is we are now going to be able to obviously delight the enthusiasts who have always been lovers of Thar, but not only that, we're going to get a lot of the youth, the millennials who would want to come in and experience a true blue SUV at an excellent value proposition of price and something that will provide all the bells and whistles that a city SUV would. So I think we've kind of expanded the pond, and we're already seeing that in terms of the initial response, be it the profile of the people who are inquiring, or even the kind of people and the variants that they already started booking. So all in all, I think it's going to be a fantastic mix where we're going to get a lot of new people to come into the brand, and also take care of the enthusiasts of the Thar.
All right. I know that this is going to be a constant question that you're going to get. I've already started getting it, which is, can you help me get delivery sooner than the others? Anand was asking the same question about being in queue, by the way. But the point is not that. How equipped are you to handle that kind of demand from a production perspective, given that, we are still living in this whole COVID crisis. There is still a lot of pressure in terms of, getting that sort of ramp up going. It's not just you, it's also your vendors. You always knew this was going to be big. So how are you planning to meet that demand now?
Yeah, Siddharth, so
take bids coming in at the end. And one particular bidder seemed to be playing a very smart strategy. And that, of course, was the guy who ended up winning this thing. So let's go ahead and welcome him now onto this show, the winner